Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. I have actually kind of made a background for you guys. It's not the best and it's not the final thing, but for now it'll have to do. We're still doing up our office, and so I hope that the background is just better than having no background. Or yeah, you know, I'm just gonna probably mess around with a few backgrounds, but do let me know if you like having like candle lighting. I thought it would kind of bring a soothing vibe to the background instead of just having like my couch or something like that. So yeah, in today's video I kind of came up with this the other day. I want to share more about my journey. That's kind of what I started on YouTube, and although that's not like predominantly all of my life anymore, I still wanted to help out those that might have had a recent diagnosis, or if you know someone who is struggling with their diagnosis. This isn't going to be one of those videos where I'm telling you how to cope, because everyone copes so differently, but I thought in these kind of videos I would just bring a chill atmosphere and share some tips that I have for when you're going into treatment and just what to expect from being a cancer survivor. So if I could help you in any way, I hope that these videos do help. And if you have any more questions for like part 2, I'll probably make this into like a little series maybe, or sharing whatever tips I have on how to get through this really difficult time in your life. Having some Coke Zero out of the fridge hits different. So good. So tip number 1 that I would have for you guys is not to run to Google. This is something that I have actually done, and I did when I first found out what my diagnosis was. I ran to Google before even understanding the diagnosis and even having my doctor really explain it. I ran to Google and straight away my type of cancer came up as like a lung cancer, and so I thought there was something wrong with my lungs, even though there wasn't anything wrong with my lungs. It's just that the cancer that I had presents itself in the lungs usually, but it didn't for me. But I kind of ran with that, and I was like, oh my god, what's wrong with my lungs? They never said anything was wrong with my lungs, and Google is telling me all of this. And honestly, like, it just made me even more anxious for the journey that I was about to undergo. And honestly, I couldn't recommend enough to ask your doctors and nurses questions instead of Google, because Google is so vast and it can give you so much misinformation. You're better off just, you know, you're a unique case, so just talk to your doctor about it instead of jumping on Google and typing away. I know it's really difficult, but you will thank yourself for not putting yourself through that emotional like roller coaster that Google can take you. Like, it can literally bring you to the worst place ever, because you can think that you're way worse than you are, or you may find out something about the cancer that might not even affect you, and it's not one of those things that I would recommend. So definitely talk to your doctor, read books and do that kind of thing, but don't always rely on Google. Okay, the second one would be to find a very good support system. There are so many cancer centres all over Ireland that offer counselling for those who are going through a diagnosis, and yeah, it's something that you are going to need more than you even know. Especially in the beginning, it can be quite a shock, and you may feel like you don't need to talk to someone and you're fine, but to be honest, I ignored all of the emotional trauma that I was enduring when I went through my diagnosis. I just kind of put it to the back of my head, and I didn't take care of my mental health, and I feel like that is just so important. So definitely make sure you see someone, even if it's just for a few weeks. It's good to get those extra little things off your chest and be able to talk to someone who is a professional and could help you navigate through this time. It can be a really emotional time, and you know, you're going through something that you never thought you would, and so it would really help just have somebody to talk to. The next one I would say is invest in some comfortable clothing. You know, you're going to be in hospital a lot, so if you're having treatment or you're going to be in hospital, you're going to want to be very comfortable. So even if you just bought like 1 or 2 comfortable tracksuits, I'll link a few down below that I have purchased, but if you want to buy like 2 tracksuits and a few pajamas, that would be loads. And it's just nice to be able to just pick something up and walk out the door. It's just nice to know that you have comfortable clothing there and you can just throw it on, walk out the door and not really have to worry. And then when you get to the hospital or you're going through treatment or anything like that, you don't have to worry about feeling uncomfortable with your clothing, because the last thing you want is like restrictive clothing. You'll probably be nauseous, most of the time. I was. So I always had to wear kind of loose baggy clothing, something that was comfortable. Another thing that you should invest in is Egyptian cotton headscarves. Headscarves made of that material will keep your head warm when it's cool out and will cool down your head when it's warm out. So it's really, really great and versatile for different seasons and weather. So yeah, I would highly, highly recommend that. I got my headscarves in Wig World in Waterford, so I'll leave all the information again down below. I'll leave any resources that I talk about in this video down below. But yeah, I would highly, highly recommend, even if you were to buy one, they are quite expensive, but I would highly recommend. I did try out some like lower cost headscarves, but they were never as good of quality, and the headscarves that I did purchase that were Egyptian cotton lasted me years and years throughout my whole cancer journey, and I was actually able to pass them on to my sister-in-law who went through cancer as well. So that's how long they last. They really, really do last. So even if you can just get one, what I used to do is I would ask for headscarves for Christmas. So I had about 5 headscarves from Wig World, and they were like all different colors. So I had like a white and black one, which is quite versatile, and it went with a lot of outfits. And I'll try and leave pictures up here of me wearing them just so that you can kind of have a visual for when I'm explaining. But I had like a few different colors to go with each different thing, and I just found it so handy, and they were so soft and just felt really nice on your head. So yeah, I would highly recommend headscarves from Wig World, or just Egyptian cotton headscarves in general. The next thing I would recommend, especially if you are having treatment in the hospital and then you're allowed to return home, when you're going through treatment, a lot of the time you will probably get, you know, fevers and things like that and end up in hospital, or you could have like a health scare and have to go to hospital, or you don't feel well and have to go to hospital because your immune system will be so low. So I would always recommend having a bag packed and ready to go for the hospital. And the things that I would recommend putting in your bag at this time in life with the pandemic, I would definitely recommend having hand sanitizer, baby wipes, because baby wipes you could take off makeup if you have any on, or you like to do it in the hospital. Some people like to wear makeup. I didn't really wear makeup that often, but baby wipes can be good for anything. I would also recommend just pajamas, a comfortable set like a tracksuit. I would also recommend fluffy socks, because I found that chemo kind of made me quite cold, and so not only are fluffy socks nice and warm, but they're also quite comforting, especially when you're on your own. If you're an adult and you can't have your parents or friends stay with you all night, then it's nice to have just a bit of comfort. So even a hot water bottle, if that's something that brings you some sort of comfort, or if you have a teddy or anything, it does not matter how old you are, you're always going to feel like you need some sort of comfort in these times, because it's extremely hard to go through. Being comfortable and having things that bring you comfort is so important. You could take in some like ginger chews, things like that for nausea. Anything you feel would bring you relief or comfort or anything like that. And then if you have like an iPad or a computer, it's great if you can bring that in too, because it'll just keep you distracted. Or even if you don't have either of those, putting a playlist on your phone of like relaxing music that you love is a really great idea, because you can just unwind in the evenings when you're in the hospital, put your earphones in or whatever and just listen away, and you can kind of transform yourself into a different world, close your eyes and just relax. So I would highly recommend that you do one of those things, because it's a great distraction and it will kind of just distract you from everything else that's going on and help you relax more. And then I would highly recommend as well just having like an extra few toiletries to put in the chemo bag. So just like an extra toothbrush, a little toothpaste, some shower gel or something that you like. Have a few of them in the bag, because if you have that bag packed, when you have to go to the hospital, then at least it'll all be ready and you won't have to worry about scrambling to get things packed and forgetting things. So just have a little bag packed for yourself. It will be so useful for you. Coke break. I'm so thirsty today, guys. I don't know what's going on. Okay, another tip that I have, I remember this one and I feel like no one tells you about this, and it's one of those things where I'm like, it's so random, but when you're going through treatment, it's best that you don't wear your favorite perfume or your favorite scent. I remember at the time that I went through chemo, I was absolutely obsessed with the Ari by Ariana Grande, I think that was what it was, perfume, and I would spray it all over myself thinking, you know, that I'd smell nice going into chemo, because obviously like I was in a tracksuit and I had no makeup on, so I kind of wanted to smell nice at least, because I didn't make the whole huge effort because I was literally going to treatment. And then I would feel ill from being on chemo and I would vomit, and I just slowly started to absolutely hate my perfume. And I have not smelled that perfume in years, but I bet you the minute I smell that perfume again at some point, if I do decide to repurchase it or smell it, it will bring me back to that time. And I literally just used to vomit even more. Like every time I smelled that perfume throughout chemo, I would just be no. So don't wear your expensive perfume or your favorite perfume. Just buy a body spray if you want to smell nice, one that doesn't hold huge momentum to you, because like that Ariana Grande perfume was literally like my scent. That was the one that I wore all of the time, and now I cannot even smell it. And this goes the same for food. Don't be too extravagant with your food choices on the days that you know you're going to have nausea, because I remember that my mom would make like spaghetti bolognese and then I would have it and I would get sick. One day I had a Subway, then I couldn't eat bread for literal years because I just like, well, a certain type of bread, like white bread and cold chicken, gave me the ick for years. So just keep it simple. Same with your body care, keep it simple, keep your scents to very low, because they will make you feel even more sick, and then you're just going to associate those smells with like being on chemo and cancer, and it's not a great feeling. So just don't do it to yourself, and just buy like a cheap body spray and keep your meals fairly simple, because the last thing you want is to be disgusted by every meal that you used to love because you went through chemo and got sick when you eat them. So definitely just keep everything simple. Everything simple, simple, simple is all I can like say. The next one is definitely create a new routine for yourself. You are not going to be able to keep up with the routine that you had before your diagnosis. If you're not someone who really lives by a routine, then that's a really good thing when you go through treatment, because everything is going to change. But if you're like me and you are a very structured person who has like a set routine and doesn't like changing it, definitely just sit back, relax and reevaluate your routine, because you know there was things that I did pre-cancer that I wasn't going to be able to do when I was actually going through treatment. You know, your whole life changes, so just take a deep breath and be gentle with yourself and be willing to change around your routine as needed, because you're definitely going to go through lots of different things throughout chemo. So just be gentle on yourself is all I can say, and really just create a better routine. And yeah, just reevaluate your routine and take out things that maybe aren't gonna be good for you when you're going through chemo. There was lots of things that I didn't have the energy for, and so I just kind of swapped around my routine a little bit. But I would definitely recommend seeing your friends regularly and keeping that kind of thing in your routine, because your friends and your family they're your support system and you're going to need them throughout everything. But yeah, just be more gentle on yourself and be more simple with your routine, because it's going to help you so much. So there are all the tips that I have for today's video. If you would like part 2, I can make more videos like this. I just wanted to kind of make this video to let you know that if you're going through cancer, you are not alone. And I'm sure there's so many things that I have missed out in this video, but these are just like a few tips that have came to my mind. I didn't want to sit back too much and think about this video. I kind of just wanted it to flow. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and that if you are going through a cancer diagnosis or some sort of autoimmune disease or anything like that, that this video helped you a little bit. And if you did like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment down below. And if you ever need anyone to talk to, cancer related or anything similar to that, please message me. I'm absolutely always here. So yeah, thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.